This was a question from LinkedIn. It was actually a number of people contributing to this question, and I thought it was important, so I posted it on our Facebook page during one of our Fridays. And it was all around, is there a danger? Is there a danger to having and bringing humor into the workplace, especially if you're a woman? So the emphasis was on a woman. So the RICHtip question was, is there danger to bringing humor into the workplace as a woman? And my tip was more of a question, and those of you who follow me a great deal, especially in writing online, you'll notice that when you ask me a question, I often answer it with a question because I want you to find your own answers. I'm more than happy to give you tips, advice, and tough love. At the same time, if I can get you thinking and changing maybe your thought process, it'll help you find the answers for yourself. But until you do, I'm more than happy to provide you them. So is there a danger? The first question I did pose back was, are you naturally funny? Is that a part of who you are? Because if so, then leaving that part of you at home or out at the front door of your office is not being true to who you really are, and is limiting what other people and how other people experience you in the workplace. So if you are naturally funny, or even if you're not naturally funny, like people actually laugh with you, and yet you're just a goof, or every once in a while you might have some dry sense of humor that you throw out there, I find it to be perfectly okay. Laughter is part of life. And if we can't laugh at work, then the ultimatum is that we're just either crying, or we're being horrified, or we're just being complacent, or we're being very robotic. And I'm not sure any of us want a work environment like that. Now, that said, I think just the trick is, especially for women, and this question was geared toward women, and I'll kind of assume it's also geared for women that might be in a very male-heavy, whether it's an organization or an industry or a team, and they're concerned that their sense of humor, or them just joking and kind of goofing off with the guys, will be perceived improperly, incorrectly, unprofessionally, whatever the case might be. And again, it comes down to what is the content. If the guys are sitting around the water cooler, or even in a conference room, and they're talking about the strip club they visited, or even took a client to, or they're talking about their trip to Vegas, or to some sort of retreat or conference or business trip, and they're kind of getting smutty about it and shady about it, and with all due respect, guys, you do, all right? I would never recommend a woman to kind of try to jump in and engage in that conversation and try to be funny about it or try to joke about it. I'd also tell them not to get all worked up about it. If you're offended, you should raise that up. At the same time, don't try to infuse humor, one, where it just isn't needed. It's not the right time, it's not the right place, it's not with the right people. Don't try to infuse humor that is just to kind of play along, that isn't congruently aligned to who you are and what your values are, forgetting whether you're funny or not. And I just wouldn't do it just to be, just to do it, just to be funny. But if it naturally becomes part of the conversation, if it naturally becomes part of the situation you're trying to create, or the atmosphere you're trying to create, then please bring humor, into the workplace, because I think too often, too many things are taken too seriously that people just have a hard time letting go. And I was that person. I was that person who, would have fought you every step of the way to just kind of get lackadaisical, what I perceived lackadaisical, joking, kind of not serious. I would have been the first person to kind of act on that. And yet, that's when you hear a lot of oh, she's a bitch, or he's uptight or what a prick or whatever the case might be, right? So humor, yes, bring humor. Make sure it's appropriate. Make sure it's authentic. And I don't even care if it isn't funny or not, because if you think it's funny and or you intended it to be funny but the room didn't, oh well. But yes, just make sure that it's done appropriately. All right. So that was RICHtip question about, well, is it dangerous to bring humor into the workplace? And I thank, I'm not sure who, because that doesn't have a name next to it, for that question. All right, this is RICHtip Tuesday on Shedding the Bitch Radio, and I'm Bernadette Boas. Thank you so much for joining.